Is this year more important for Dan Campbell, or is this year more important for Jared Goff? It's Jared Goff. It's got to be Jared Goff. Jared Goff is playing for the rest of his career.
Yeah, the heat's hot coming from Dan Campbell, but the heat's in the fireplace. Execution, that's the difference between failure and success.
If Dan Campbell doesn't perform this year, he's still going to get another chance to prove himself. Yeah, I pay my bills, okay? I take care of my kids.
The time has come to say fair's fair, to pay the rent now, to pay our share.
So we were talking about Dan Campbell. It's his second year, about the improvement that he's already shown in just his demeanor coming in to press conferences and whatnot, and just how much calmer and more focused he feels coming into this year. But the question is this year more important for Dan Campbell, or is this year more important for Jared Goff? And I think this is an interesting debate. Sam, I want to hear your opinion on this, because I always like to hear yours, and sometimes we can go off of that. So yeah, what do you got, Sam?
God, this is so tough, because both of them being good, what we hope they could be, is so critical to them making the playoffs and taking the next step. But I'm going to say Jared Goff just for one reason, because we've built a roster around Jared Goff that actually is pretty good. He's got some weapons, and when he had weapons in Los Angeles, he made it to the Super Bowl. I think that 2018 Rams roster is better now, especially on the defensive side. But that Lions offensive line is elite. The weapons for him to throw to has the potential to be very, very good. And you know that I think very highly of DeAndre Swift, although I don't think he's as good as 2018 Todd Gurley was.
Nobody is.
No, Todd Gurley was amazing back then. But Jared Goff has proven that with a roster around him that he can be at least a very, very high-end game manager. And I think a quarterback is a little bit more important than a head coach, especially with Jared Goff. I think Ben Johnson is going to work with him more than Dan Campbell. And Jared Goff has done it before with a loaded roster. So I'm going to go with Jared Goff. But their success, both Jared Goff and Dan Campbell, is so critical to the Lions' success.
Yeah. What about you, Spencer?
I'm going the opposite. I do think it's Dan Campbell, because I think we know what Jared Goff is at this point in his career. I think we know where he stands as a quarterback, but the book is still out on Dan Campbell. We don't really know what kind of a coach he's going to be in this league just yet. So I think, obviously, Jared Goff having success is more important for the Lions, but as a 1A, 1B, I think it's more important for Dan Campbell, because he needs to prove that he can be a coach in this league, that he can be a winning coach in the NFL, while we know that at his best, like Sam said, Jared Goff is a very good game manager.
Yeah, see, when I'm looking at this question, my mind kind of goes two ways. And initially, I was thinking Dan Campbell, but it's Jared Goff. It's got to be Jared Goff. Jared Goff is playing for the rest of his career this year, right? If Dan Campbell comes out and we have a 5-win, 6-win season, he's still locked into that 6-year contract. He's still going to get another chance. If Jared Goff comes out and lays an egg this year, not only are the Lions not going to re-sign him, there's going to be very few teams in the NFL that are going to want to pursue him in the offseason, or even try to trade him for him. So I think it's all on Jared Goff this year, because he's playing for literally his football life this year. Dan Campbell, he's still got maybe 2 more years before we start going ape on him if the team is not performing the way it should be. But yeah, that's why I got to go with Jared Goff in this situation, because he's playing for his life. If he doesn't get it together this year, if he doesn't put up the numbers this year, if he doesn't get us closer to the playoffs, I'm not going to say playoffs needs to be the barometer this year, obviously. D-Mac, I know you're not, because we're still halfway through your clock. Exactly.
I got it back.
But at the end of the day...
massaging the clock. I like it.
There it is. But at the end of the day, if Jared Goff doesn't perform this year, he's out the door next year. If Dan Campbell doesn't perform this year, he's still going to get another chance to prove himself.
Well, you know what? You say that.
Yeah.
You put my clock.
I agree with you on Dan Campbell.
That's not out. But as far as you're looking to the extended contract, if this year will tell you a lot moving forward, if you're going to sink the money into Jared Goff or not, or contingency plan that you really do need to draft a quarterback or trade for somebody.
Right.
That'll be apparent after this season. But again, when you hear Jared Goff talk about getting bigger, faster, stronger, confidence and stuff like this, you have to at least in my eyes, the way that I do from what I saw with the changes made to the offense for the last 6 or 7 games, that I'm willing to pay attention. That doesn't mean I'm not watching every snap and every play because I do in the back of my mind, like everybody else, and wait for the shoe to fall. But in the other sense, if I trust Brad Holmes and this is his guy and he's put the faith and he's telling me to trust him, then I have to sit there and be quiet and be patient.
Right, and just wait to see the results. Time will tell.
Big old clock. The big old clock.
Yeah, and with the whole Jared Goff situation, if you heard Dan Campbell talking yesterday, he said Jared Goff is coming in more comfortable in the offense, which to me is just an obvious statement, right? Like, that should go without saying, that in your second year, you're coming in, you're more comfortable, you understand the offense, you understand your role a little bit better. So I don't really take too much with that when Dan Campbell says that about Jared Goff, because it should be that way, right? And you don't get credit for things you're supposed to do. I think it's Chris Rock that said that. Yeah, I pay my bills, okay? I take care of my kids. Yeah, you're supposed to. So, yeah, I'm more comfortable coming into my second year. Yeah, you should be, right?
Well, but here, what are we talking about all week? Same old lines? So it should be, but in the past with this team, that's not always the way it is. Developing guys, how hard is it to get a guy to a second contract? Right? It used to be really friggin' hard. I don't think it's going to be that hard now with this regime. So it's who says it, how they said it. It all plays in with the same analogy of, oh, okay, I see the fire, I can see it, but it's a little bit more subdued. Yeah, the heat's hot coming from Dan Campbell, but the heat's in the fireplace. It's not spewing out a bonfire, getting ashes getting on everybody because he knows who he is. So, yes, at the same thing, it doesn't change the fact that if he said he wasn't, that I'm still going to watch. We got to watch the eyeball test. Wait till he starts throwing passes. Wait till this. And then we can break down that he missed the pass in practice and then the end of the world.
Right. Yeah, that's really what I'm looking forward to out of Corey too these next couple days. Once they start putting on the pads, though, is just getting a vibe, because last year, early on, Corey was saying, yeah, he was missing some open wide receivers. Yeah, he wasn't reading the play correctly. There'd be a guy open underneath, and he'd try to go for the big pass. So I think a lot of that is first-year quarterback putting pressure on yourself, wanting to perform, wanting to make the big play. But you've seen it in this league a million times. The guys that can game manage and then give you that little extra when you need it are the guys that go on to win championships. Tom Brady isn't going to blow you away with athleticism. He isn't going to blow you away with arm strength. What he's going to beat you with is his cerebral, and he's going to beat you with just how calm he is during the game. And when you get to that level of comfort, that's when you can really just be you and be your best.
The separation to the greats isn't throughout the game of not making mistakes. It's not making them at the crucial times. And if you need to make a play, you need to make a throw or whatever, no matter what it is, gets it done. That's why you have to give Matt Stafford the credit for throwing the Super Bowl winning pass to Cooper Kupp, because he executed. Execution, that's the difference between failure and success. So the fact that you put yourself in those situations, right? The confidence level, right, early on to explain, well, if you're not confident, then you don't know. You second guess yourself. That could explain. So we'll see that. If Jared Goff's telling me he's confident, show me by making the right read in training camp, by baby stepping it. Again, we still got a year with all the Pistons. The Wings and the Lions are going to be in the same sort of conversation where we still have to see. This is what we're looking for, but we have to see. So if he's saying this is now, I'm not going to say, oh, you need time to warm up. Oh, you need time. Oh, it's only a couple days of practice. He'll find his mark. No, that's not what he is and what he's telling me he is.
Right. The time is now. There is no more waiting.
The time has come to say fair's fair, to pay the rent now, to pay our share. Time has come, a fax of Midnight Oil. What do you want?
No, do your thing, D-Mac. In the chat, we put up the poll, and it's 70-30 right now that Jared Goff has more to prove this year, and that's pretty much the same thing about this room.
Yeah, we had Corey Woods on the heavyweights last night. We interviewed him after he got out of Allen Park. Heavyweights 5-7, by the way. Check us out. We're giving away an autographed Amon-Ra St. Brown helmet. But
good plug.
Yeah, he talked about how not only Jared Goff, but the entire team and the coaching staff is so much further up than they were last year. They're so farther along than they were at camp this time that last year. They just seem readier. They seem happier. They're executing already more than they did last year. So
game plan.
yeah, it's important to watch.
Plan. They got people. Right. They got some talent.
Summer salads.
They gotta move it. Exactly.
Summer salads. Chipotle. No, it is nice that they have a game plan, man. And it's nice that we can go into this off season or go into this season knowing that we're witnessing growth. Right? We watched it the entire season last year, got off to a rocky start. Second half started to look a little bit better. By the end, they were looking like an actual competitive, real football team in the NFL. Now that they have that feather in their cap, can they continue with that into this offseason? And I think even though we're 2 days into training camp, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but it's nice that they're calm and methodical right now. Like they're just about their business, and that's what we need to be.